Good morning, students. Uh, Today we are going to continue with our previous chapter that we are learning about history. That is chapter number 2, Spread of Christianity. And in our previous chapter, we had learned about how this particular religion, which came into after coming into existence, how it spreaded in different part of the world, starting from the European countries. And previously, we had studied about what exactly happened during the medieval period. Then we went through the main reason for the establishment or the spread of the Christianity, that is the decline of the Roman Empire. And then because of the decline of the Roman Empire, how did new class of people started to rule the Roman Empire, which was most probably ruled by different kind of tribes or different kind of race of people. And one of them were one of the tribes that was there, which ruled for a very long period of time, was then known as Byzantium, which I had explained you in the previous class of ours when we discussed about it. Then we learned about how spread of Christianity established in different part of the European countries, and slowly and how gradually how conversions took place, building up of religious activities took place, people going to different part of the European countries, and how did they spread Christianity. Then we studied about the significance or the importance of a particular war that took place, that was known as the War of the Crusades, where we learned about how a religious place, which was known as Jerusalem, was captured by the Muslim Turks. And because of that, the Christians were not allowed to visit to their holy places. They were restricted from it. But circumstances happened that when Pope, the religious head of the Christian, decided to attack, to form an army which was known as the Holy Army, and he declared a holy war against the Muslim Turks. And during that time, initially on the first war, it was seen that they were successfully able to capture their holy place. But later on, again, it was found that the Muslim Turks again attacked the Christian and regained the same position. When they were attacked in the second part, there was a significant changes that started coming up into the lives of people, and this brought about a lot of development and changes in through a different part of European countries, and it gave a lot of importance to other theories or thinkings, which gave birth to a learning process as a whole. Now, as this War of Crusades, as I told you, was considered to be a very important, that impacted a different dimension of lifestyle of the people in the later part of their period. Now, as I told that on the second time when the Turks invaded, the Christians, when they were defeated, they started saving their life and running away from there. So they departed, or they distributed themselves into different areas, and they fled to different part of the European countries. Now, when they went to different part of the countries, they came across new cultures, race, or type of people in different part of the different European countries wherever they traveled, and they learned many different things. Now, this was the time a new process of learning or building themselves started, and this new process of building and learning gave a new significance, or a new starting of a new world of education. Now, how it was important, that is also important to be known. Now, they came, as I told you, they came in contact with new European countries or new people that were there around there. Now, due to this contact only, what happened is that they came across many new civilizations, many new cultures around them, and then they started the process of Western. When they learned, they collaborated their kind of learning with the other parts or the other European countries' learnings. A new form of education started, or learning process started, which is known as the Western education. And this Western education is still very significant in today's time. And there were other significant learning also that they learned from the other people. That is, they learned about how to make gunpowders, which was again very useful. Then there was a true decline of feudal system. Now all these processes, all these systems that happened due to the War of Crusades, this revolutionized the total society in a very different way, where learning, education, uh, understanding one culture, or bringing together two cultures together and making it one, and practicing them, knowing, educating others also about it, this all started coming into existence, and this brought about a new dimension of lifestyle of the people during that time. Now during this process only, there was existence of important things that religiously started, that were known as special kind of buildings or constructive places that were made by the Christians, which was known as the monasteries. These buildings were known as monasteries. Now what is monasteries? Now monasteries were a kind of building or a place where the religious people who chose to follow Christian in a uh, very strong way, they started living in these places, and they were called as nun. The men part of the religious people were known as the monks. Now these monks had a very important role to play in the society. Now there were certain different forms of monks that they practiced, or they had their own lifestyle. Now few monks were such that they lived with the common people, their society, and they did good services to them. On the other hand, there were few monks who isolated themselves from human habitation, and they went in a separate a separate place where no human habitation is there, and they used to do meditations and all, and they used to get spiritual powers and knowledge. Now as the time went on, there were development in monasteries taking place, where more religious activities started taking place in monasteries. And during this time only, there were females also who took active part in religious development, and this female who took religious Christian as to follow rigidly were known as the nuns. Now these nuns had a separate place to stay. That this were known as either a nunneries or a convents. These are the places. Like monks used to live in monasteries, but nuns had a separate place. Now why this separation? Because monks and nuns were not allowed to marry in their lifetime. They have to study. They have to stay without getting married. So they had their separate places. But the aim and objective of both of them was to spread Christianity, spread education, spread the knowledge of the religious activities that they used to go through. Now in coming times, when these monasteries or nunneries or convents started developing, it was also seen that various different activities also started taking place. That is, the development of education, hospitals, and various different caretaking places were made by these monasteries, monks, or nunneries. Now nuns were those women who preached about religious activities and theories and philosophy, as well as they started educating the small children. And on the other hand, monks were also had the same activities that they conducted throughout their life. And secondly, it is seen that as they progressed, as they came across these various different developments, there were other factors also developed simultaneously. The places around the monasteries or nunneries were used as agricultural places, and more agricultural activities started. And because of those activities that started, settlement also started coming up, where people, other common peoples also started living on those areas. Now because of this all processes, the importance of monasteries or nunneries also grew up. More and more monasteries or nunneries were developed in various parts of the world, where people themselves willfully started coming and joining and giving their time in their monasteries educating themselves religiously as well as in other literatural part of their life. Now, the main aim and objective we need to understand of these monks and nunneries were to give social service to the general public, taking care of the sick people, healing them, providing them with basic facilities that they are not having with, and these basic facilities, when they were not given to them, they used to they were approached by these common monasteries monks and nunneries, and they were helped by them. Now on the other hand, there were various educational institute and various educational factors also developed. Now not only religiously, but it was also seen that other literature were also taught by them. Now it was seen that history came into existence where it was being taught by the people. Philosophy, religious or secular books or theories of or ideologies of religious religion were taught to them. And on the other hand, this also served these places, that is monasteries and nunneries, also served a place of shelter. And this place of shelter were most probably for the travelers who used to travel from different part of the world and used to come there. And these monasteries or nunneries were places where these travelers were welcomed, and they were given shelter or place to stay. Not only place to stay, they were given care in regarding to food facilities, and if they were sick, they were taking care specially. So monasteries, you can consider as a whole that monasteries played a very important role for the development or the spread of Christian ideologies, principles in a very very important way, because more and more people, when they came acquainted with it, or when they came to know about it, they started following it, and one follower started giving rise to few more others, which slowly and gradually build up a big community in and around the areas, and the spread of Christianity was able to be done. So monasteries and nunneries played a very important role. Now there were other things also that were importantly done. That is, earlier it was seen that there were no papers that were developed on which writings were, or printing press, so to say. Printing press were not developed actually, where things could be printed down. So nuns and monks, what they used to do is that they used to write it with their own hand on parchments, and these parchments were stored, which contained all the religious factors, activities that were being conducted. Now this, how it is important, because this particular parchments, when it was restored by the historians, it gave them a immense knowledge, a source of knowledge about the early medieval European civilization. People, how they lived, what was their culture, what exactly existed during that time in the European civilization, what mostly were practiced during that time, what were the different forms of religion that were there, that existed during that time. So all these things gave a very important and significant source of knowledge. These books played a very important role. So this is how the spread of Christian took place, that we learned in this chapter. This is all about this chapter, and I hope and pray that we all are very safe and sound, following the guidelines of our own health, so that we keep ourselves secured, and not only ourselves, we keep our society also secured with proper guidance and proper guidelines followed by ourselves only. Thank you very much.